Plaintiff Patricia Gaffney says the defendant is her sister-in-law, and she loves her dearly, but she's made a lot of bad choices due to her alcoholism. As a result of her addiction, Patricia has custody of one of the defendant's children, and she's suing her sister-in-law for unpaid loans. Defendant Valentina Gaffney admits that she's an alcoholic who's been extremely unstable for the last couple of years. Valentina claims she's been sober now for 6 months, and she's desperately trying to get her children back. Valentina only admits to owing Patricia for a portion of her lawsuit.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Prove your case.
Well, we're here today, sir, because I love my sister-in-law very much. And she's made some poor choices over the last couple of years.
Like what?
Well, she's been in and out of rehab herself.
That's a good choice.
That's a good choice. Good choice to go in.
Maybe it was a bad choice before that caused her to need rehab.
Yes, but very proud of her for going in rehab on her own at times.
Excellent.
And again,
alcohol, drugs?
Alcohol, that I'm aware of. And also, men in her life has been a poor choice. One especially was a revolving door for her. And I kept saying, why are you going back to him? Because he was supposedly, from what she says, physically and verbally abusive. Mm-hmm. And I just hated she kept going back to that situation. But she felt she had to.
You all's relationship has always been good?
Yes, really good. A little rocky at times because her daughter, she lived with us for a little while. That's when she was doing rehab on her own, which is awesome. And that was a little difficult. I mean, because I'm raising her kid and having to do motherly duties. So that put a little strain on us, but we worked through that. And so here we are today. And besides the boyfriends with poor choices and the rehab, we have her daughter again. DSS has placed her with us.
Why?
Well, there's a custody case with her and her ex-boyfriend on the 2 children. And DSS got called, and her daughter also failed a drug screen.
How old is the daughter?
17 now, 17. And so, you know, we're both in agreement that her daughter lives with us, but DSS did place her with us. It was either us or a group home. And of course,
now I was 17 when I got busted, but they sent me to jail.
Yeah, they sat down at my house and said,
"That's a good deal.
Group home or
I got that deal. A lot of inner city kids go to jail. I guess some go to some go to counseling and others go to jail. Go ahead."
I guess so we just want to see her daughter graduate and not go down the same path and do well for herself. And the orders state that we're to keep her till she graduates high school and or turns 18 first.
Intervention, good intervention.
Yes, sir.
Good. Why don't you give me some background?
First of all, Your Honor, her and I have had a good relationship. I have been very unstable for the last couple of years due to my alcoholism. I did seek treatment, outpatient treatment, and I have been sober for 6 months now. I am fighting to get my children back.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 children.
Okay.
I have a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 17-year-old.
And are they all part of the state system?
My 1 and 2-year-old is not at this time. We've done a personal filing for that, but my 17-year-old is. So every day I work hard.
How did they come to test her, the 17-year-old?
Some accusations that were made. It was my alcoholism and instability. Couldn't keep a stable job. So then I had to, lost my home, was in an abusive relationship. And
so those were all the reasons. See, it sounds like you all trying to put it on the daughter. You follow me? And I'm not going to let that happen. Right. I know better than that. I know they're not taking 17-year-olds out of their house for smoking marijuana. Otherwise, everybody's homes would be empty.
It was my instability, Your Honor.
All right. I'm glad you're on the road to recovery. I hope you get your children back. Tell me about the loan. $3,249 you say she owes you.
Yes, sir. The loans were for various things. The DMV, there were speeding tickets. Those charges totaled to $1,145.
So we have $1,145, but you're suing for $3,200. Tell me.
Yes, sir. The other portion is medical bills. when she was pregnant with the daughter,
What year?
2007.
How much?
2008. They total $1,114. And the last one, this is a curious one. This one is a loan for her boyfriend. At the time, it was $990, which is also for a rehab place.
For the guy you didn't like and the guy you knew was trouble to her.
Yes. At the time, I didn't know him very well, and I'm a Christian. I was going to witness to him and try and get him saved and
Good.
do the right thing. And I had compassion for him, too. He didn't have his driver's license.
$990. Did you tell him to pay his tithes out of that $990?
I should have. Well, he wasn't going
And
to
his
church at that
offering?
time, but I pray that he is doing that now, but because he is in church now, but at this time he was not.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Who was instrumental in him joining church?
Me, actually,
Oh,
which
great.
that did put a little strain between the two of us, but
It put a strain.
well, I'm witnessing to the person that she doesn't speak to anymore.
Oh.
And she had, this is the ex-boyfriend that is, she said no good. So,
Gotcha.
and I'm trying to witness to him. So they didn't want me to have communication with him
gotcha.
really. So,
All right.
but she promised to pay this loan to me as well out of the income tax.
Okay. You all aren't dating anything. You're just witnessing to him.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
I was just wondering. You never know.
My husband will get me. That's her brother.
I just don't know. You never know what happens when folks close their eyes
That's
to pray.
right.
All right. Go ahead, man. You tell me, do you owe this amount she's suing you for?
I feel as though that I am responsible for the medical bills, maybe part of the medical bills. I feel as though that he should be responsible for at least half of that because they were his children too. I do not feel I'm responsible for the $990 that she loaned him for rehab. I feel as though that was his responsibility. That was completely his loan.
Tickets.
Yes, and I do feel responsible for the tickets, Your Honor, but I was hoping that she could have a little more compassion and giving me some time to get a little more stable in order to pay those,
Okay.
pay that loan.
I believe you're telling the truth based on your response. Medical bills, did she agree to repay all of it?
Yes.
Okay, even though it wasn't all for her.
She was pregnant at the time, and she had back medical bills that if I didn't catch up, they wouldn't have seen her
Really?
during her pregnancy. So I had no choice. I felt
Did
like
she ever say she would repay you the $990 you loaned to him?
yes, through her income taxes.
Ma'am, did you tell her that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, I did. At the time, I wasn't working, and I did have my two children. My 1-year-old wasn't born at the time. I was expecting, and I had my own home with my two daughters, and I had gotten behind in my rent, and so I took that income tax money to get my rent
Ma'am,
current.
it would have been very convincing and very believable and very understandable if you would have told me that you never promised to pay his bill that she loaned him. She loaned him the money, but you promised to pay. And you're being very honest. You didn't have to tell me that. You could have said, that's his bill. I never promised to pay. That's his own bill. But you're being so honest. I want you to know that I am convinced that you're on the right road to recovery, because that's the first thing. You got to
Thank you,
tell
sir.
the truth. So I just want you to know, I get a lot of folks in here who are in recovery and they just lie. And that is symptomatic of not being in recovery when you continue the same behavior, and that is lying and stealing and cheating. So thank you for being honest. However, judgment for the plaintiff. You agree that you owe. Your only defense is you haven't had time to pay, and you believe that the $990 is his debt. It is his debt, but you agreed to cover for him, and that's what she's requesting that you do. You're going to give her a little time, hopefully, right?
Yes, sir,
All
Your
right.
Honor. Yes,
Judgment
sir.
for the plaintiff. She's going to give you a little time. Have a good day.
Thank you. I just like to tell her that I love her, and I'm glad she is on the road to recovery. That's awesome. And I just want the choices to keep getting better and better men in her life, absolutely, and that she can get her daughter back.
And I just want to say thank you for all your help, and I love you very much.
I love you too.